just so much young talent. My only thing with them is, and it drives me crazy, and I probably shouldn't even complain about it, but Javon Quinterly, man, he's a ball stopper. It's like you've got so many different guys that move that ball and then they
Oh
cut
yeah.
and then they attack right away. He's kind of a ball stopper, but man, it's not just that, but defensively, Memphis, like, or excuse me, Alabama, there was a point Memphis was like 0 of 11 from the field. So it's like they're doing it on both sides of the ball. They're really impressive, but Memphis is just kind of hanging around, which is equally impressive.
Well,
Patric,
yeah, I agree with you completely, T.O., in the sense of Memphis, they're really just struggling. They did have a number of good looks around the basket. We were debating earlier. John was saying how good this Memphis team is, and I'm like, can a team that doesn't shoot the ball well at all have a chance to really stay in that conversation? But when you defend this well and make it so, this Alabama team, which is almost I think second in the SEC in points per game behind Missouri right now, that gets up a volume, makes 9 or 11 3-pointers per game, which is the neutralizing factor in this game today is a 3-point line. Memphis being 0 for 6, Alabama's 9 for 25. But it's really good to see this Memphis team that is the oldest. I'm trying to steal some eligibility. We got a 26-year-old on the squad. I think I can go there. I can finish in the basket. I can set some good screens. I can get Kendrick Davis open. I'm okay with wearing it. They're still blue. Gator fans won't be mad at me, right?
Hey, he's the oldest player in the NCAA, 26 years old. Fanta, I think he might be older than you.
DeAndre Williams is who Terrence Oglesby is referring to, and he's just a year younger than me. By the way, this is the Field of 68 After Dark on this Tuesday night, December the 13th. I'm John Fanta. Terrence Oglesby is here. Patric Young is here. We're just resetting things because we came on the air and our audio. Trevor Valise, it's not your bad at all. You're still on our nice list, which we're going to unveil tonight, everybody. In the holiday spirit, coming up on tonight's show, which college basketball teams are on the nice list? Who is about to get cold this Christmas? I have a feeling that these guys, where they might be going in terms of who is going to get cold. And we'll see if Terrence Oglesby will go to the Atlantic Coast Conference to hand out some coal. Because, T.O., you would make a good elf.
Thank you.
It's
the ears. It's the ears. That's what it is.
And I've seen Santa Claus at the Oglesby household. I have seen it. I've seen him stop by. That's all I'm going to say on the show.
That son of a bitch was hitting on my wife.
And you allowed it.
I did not expect that line to be dropped at 11:05. But okay. Memphis and Alabama tonight, folks. What are you seeing in this game? It's been close throughout. I mean, on a night where Memphis has not shot the basketball that well, they've stayed in the game here, 68-62, just over 6 minutes left. With Alabama, is Brandon Miller the best freshman in college basketball?
In my mind, I said it before the season, I think he's going to be the first freshman picked in the NBA draft. And the reason is he just has so much ability with the basketball. He's so skilled. Fran Fraschilla said he's an above average NBA athlete. He's not an elite one. And I agree with that because these elite athletes, the LeBrons, the John Morant's, like he's not that. But I would say he's the next tier down. But he just brings so much to the floor and with his passing ability to handle it at 6'8", 6'9". But more impressive than anything, the more you look at it, the more you notice like how good Alabama is defensively. And a few years ago, whenever they made that massive run, they were a consensus top 5 team. Everybody was putting them up there. Like that's where they thrived. That was on that end of the floor. Yes. And they continue to guard at a high level. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's a minor miracle that Memphis is as close as what they are because, Alabama still has a lot of things to figure out offensively, but their defense is going to be able to hold them up.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a minor miracle. You're playing against a team that's only taken 6 3-point attempts and missed them all. If they could knock down a few of those, this would be a little bit different of a game. But I do agree with you completely in regards to how this Alabama team is defending, and they take pride. Looking at how Jaden Bradley just takes ownership, has taken ownership in guarding Kendrick Davis tonight. Noah Gurley, Noah Clowney, both of those guys. They have a squad that just wants to fly around. They want to get stops. If Memphis was a little bit, they're shooting 42% from the field right now, have made 7 more field goals than Alabama. But again, the 3-point line and the free throw line are neutralizers. Bama, that's their quota. We're going to get to the free throw line. We're going to get a lot of threes up. We're going to get up and down. We're going to get layups as well. So it's good. I agree with you to see this team defending much better than they did last year, especially in tight games. I was really don't know Brandon Miller, but I was proud of him last game even though he was 0 for 8, he finished 8 of 9 down the stretch from the free throw line, which was able to seal that game against Houston.
And that's a mentally tough thing to do. Like, you're struggling that much, like, to be able to regain your composure and knock down shots. Like, those are easily the only good looks he had all game because of how Houston defends. But like, that's a big time move by a kid that's 18 years old.
Yeah.
Like, to be able to do that, that's huge.
So this is down to a 3-point game here with less than 5 minutes to go. And I would say this, it's not often in 2022 college basketball, nor alone against the team that currently has the number 4 next to their name. Number 4 team in the country you're talking about, and you're playing at their place.
Yeah.
If I had told Penny Hardaway, Penny, you're not going to make a single 3. You'll be 0 for 6 from 3, but with 5 minutes to go in the game, now just a little over 4 minutes left, you're going to be in a 3-point game. What would you have said?
I mean, you're taking that any day of the week.
Where do I sign?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and when you're playing a team at that level, and Patric, he played in a ton of these games. Like, on the road against a top 10 team, you're looking to hang around and give yourself a chance in the last 4 minutes. Memphis has done that, and they've done it largely just off playing hard, making these energy plays, and just being old dudes who just continue to battle. Like, they don't have the skill level that they had last year, but they play so well together and they play so stinking hard. They've got a Memphis personality about this team, and Memphis is a tough city, and they love Memphis music. Y'all don't know
that. My initial thought process, if I were to hear that as Coach Hardaway, I would say we must be dominating the paint, and we must be defending the 3-point line ourselves if we're staying in the game. And they're not necessarily the case early on, but they're overall defending for the most part pretty well. I wasn't sure how Mark Sears was going to fit into this Alabama offense.
Oh, perfect.
He's been awesome. Shoots it well, gets to the basket. He's tough. I mean, everything that you would want from somebody that's come from a conference that was leading, and you immediately want to input them in the system to win and to help the team. He's been awesome. So, I look at this Alabama team. I wouldn't say, last week I was talking about this team arguably being number 1. I still think, UConn should rightfully take that position as of now, but Alabama is really right there. They're not far off. But UConn, after how badly they beat my Gators last week, how they manhandled them for the entire game, I said, wow, this UConn team is on another level.
UConn would beat Alabama by 10 points. They beat them by double digits.
Do you think Alabama's the best team in the SEC?
Best team in the SEC? Yeah, I would say it's between
probably the most one of the most talented. Like, them and Arkansas are probably the most talented. I think
that
right
wasn't
now,
that wasn't my question.
I know, I'm getting to it. But I think Tennessee would be. I think Tennessee beat the dog out. Like, they would just beat them up.
Okay, so you're telling me that Tennessee's the best team in the SEC then? Can you trust Tennessee offensively? Because I still can't.
As of December 13th, in the year of our Lord 2022,
right?
Tennessee's the best team in the SEC today.
Why?
Are they going to be the best team in the SEC at the end of the season? I don't think so.
Why
but
is that?
I think today Tennessee's the best team in the SEC.
Why is that?
Yeah, why?
I just think that if they went head-to-head with Alabama, I think that they would be so physical that they would uproot some of these guys trying to play hard.
Okay.
Like Tennessee, when I saw them in person at the Battle for Atlantis, like, they dwarfed Kansas. They dwarfed anybody they played. And like, it was pretty amazing, really. Like, their size against Southern Cal, who's not a small team. Like, it was pretty impressive.
Guys.
It wasn't Southern Cal. I can't remember who it was.
Here's my thought process. the thought process that I take from that course of logic, if we're talking about this debate, the fact is we weren't sure exactly what Alabama was going to be going into the season.
Right.
Because you couldn't have fully knew what Brandon Miller and Noah Clowney and company were going to do, but they've been great. It's a testament to Nate Oates. We came into the season stating that Kentucky had what it took to be a Final Four contender. And as we sit here on this Tuesday night, their case right now is potentially for fourth best SEC team.
Well,
is that the world we're living in? Is Kentucky number 4 in the SEC? Because if it's Tennessee and Alabama at the top, and then it's Arkansas, or do you guys believe that as the season goes on, that Kentucky's going to make a move up?
Well, I'll say this: Kentucky is leading the SEC in 3-point percentage right now.
Right.
And years have passed, that has not been the case. Antonio Reeves, CJ Frederick's not even playing that much. It's been Case and Wallace. He's shooting 51% from 3 right now. Something that I did not foresee. I knew he could shoot it. I knew he was a good catch and shoot guy. I didn't know that he would have the ability to help the team this much. I think Kentucky for sure. Oscar hasn't had an Oscar game, a 20-20 game yet. After last game against Yale, seeing how he seems to understand the mission. Obviously, after he took it to heart the most, I think, in that loss last year to St. Peter's. I think he is one of those guys that not only leads his team by example, but now is leading vocally. He literally told his guys at halftime last game, give me the ball. They can't stop me. I'm going to score every time. And that is literally exactly what he did. Because I look at Xavier Wheeler, and I love the kid to death, awesome, but he can't shoot it very well.
No,
but
he can't shoot the ball. So a defense could just play right off of him.
But if you can't take Oscar's ability to touch the paint to really affect the game, it will open up opportunities for Xavier, who is also, again, leading the SEC in assists this year. I think he's on track to be the third or fourth player to ever do it 3 seasons in a row. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee looks really good. I think after watching that game against Maryland, I just don't think if Alabama and Tennessee matched up, Alabama is not Maryland. Alabama will make more than
but the Tennessee's got something wrong in New York, man. That's 2 years in a row. They've just
seriously. They were 6-39 last year, T.O.
Man, they played the world's ugliest game last season, came in a distant second this year. But it was, you know what? What is better at the beginning of the season, Patrick? Offense or defense?
Oh, defense, for sure.
Okay, so Tennessee has the number 1 defense in the country.
Yeah.
They have the number 46. They have the number 46 offense in the country. That's why I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt right now.
But Terrence, the problem with that is that they've showed us before that their offensive flaws have ended up mounting when it matters most in March, and their offense becomes predictable. Guys, how many times do you see the elite defensive team that at the end of the day has trouble filling up the bucket? You get a team that gets hot from the perimeter, and all of a sudden you're going home.
Yeah. No, there's a lot to be said there. But also keep in mind, Rick Barnes' best teams, had quick guards and a bunch of tough, rugged dudes, but they haven't always been all that tall. Look at PJ Tucker, look at Damian James, some of these guys
Kendrick Davis. I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, how good is Kendrick Davis?
He's unbelievable.
He's very good.
I love the way he started.
Why is he unbelievable? Why is he unbelievable?
Well, I love the way he started the game as a distributor here. He really strove because he knew this was going to take a point for him to have to take over this game, and he's trying to, and maybe to ease some pressure off himself by helping his teammates get involved. But Alabama has been so keyed in and locked in on him. And what does Kendrick Davis have right now in this game? He's got
a 28 and 5 assists.
It looks like Alabama's going to come away though. Big 3 on the wing to go up 80-73. Not sure if you guys are ahead of me here, but 90 seconds to go in Tuscaloosa.
No, you're a little ahead of me, but it's just Alabama had too much else, and Kendrick Davis, it took him a while to get going. And obviously you want the ball to move if you're Memphis and Penny Hardaway. But when it comes down to it, you need the ball in your best player's hands. And as unselfish as Kendrick Davis was at times, he probably needed 40 to get a win on the road against a top 5 team in the country.
Well, and here's the thing. Alabama's hit 10 threes in this game. Memphis has hit none. At the end of the day, now this goes back to a thing with Memphis, right, guys? This has been Memphis's issue in past years under Penny Hardaway is there's just not enough on the perimeter. There's just not enough there. They're limited offensively. As good as Davis is, and Davis gives them an entirely different dimension. Against the elite, what's it take, Patrick? Like to beat a great team on the road, how big is it when you know you've got complementary shot makers?
Oh, it's huge. It's and that's why I don't know who I was having this debate with the other day about the transfer portal. Grabbing shooters needs to be a priority. Outside of grabbing a guy like Kendrick Davis, for sure, someone that's going to be able to take over and light it up and do it a multitude of ways, get to the free throw line, pull up, obviously not great three-point shooters, but being able to surround, like look at Kentucky having Antonio Reeves right now. They returned this season and had, with all the guys that returned, only 20 made three-pointers for that entire roster of the guys that came back from the team last year. And to have a guy that not only can shoot it, but can dynamically get to the basket is big time. But nowadays in basketball, if you can't make the three, and I'm not saying you got to shoot 39 or 45%, but to go, 3 out of 9 for Memphis's game changes the dynamic, spreads it out for you, opens it up. Because now, I know you guys can't shoot. I'm going to tell my guys to close out, load up the paint, not allow easy, nothing easy in the paint.
But part of Memphis' situation too, Pat, is like throw it up there and let your athletes go get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we're trying to have a bunch of Patric Youngs in there. We're just going to throw it at the rim and hopefully we can go get one.
But Alabama is the best offensive and defensive rebounding team in the SEC right now. That's another contributing factor to.
They're so big, man. They're so big everywhere.
Yeah.
Just got bodies everywhere. Hey, I was looking at your roster. When you played. This was 2012. You want to hear the shooters on his team, Fanta? Bradley Beal, Kenny Boynton, Irving Walker. Dudes. If they played today and the game was more structured for them, like 4 shooters and Big Pat in the middle, I mean, I'm not saying that's national. I'm not saying they're competing with Alabama, but they're top 25. You know what I mean?
And you're sleeping on Eric Murphy at the 4.
They were ahead of the game, man. So you want to talk about complimentary shot making? He knows about it.
Well, you have to. I think, Patrick, you make a great point because some of these teams they get after the lead guard or they go after that postman, and sometimes via the portal, like. I was talking with coaches about this last week. I'd be curious to get what your guys' thought process is. I was with, and if you're smart enough, you'll figure out who it was. I was with a Big Ten coach this past week. And he says to me, when we bring in a transfer, he goes, look, we've got ways in which the kid in the portal can get some dollars. Okay. We got ways that he could come to our institution and NIL and all that. Okay. But he said, if I hear a kid on his visit or someone in his circle bring up, so what's in it for us? I can't do it. Not on the initial visit. I can't do it because that's not what we're in it for. And we're not going to win games thinking that way. We're just not. Like, what's that dynamic in 2022 when you're looking at the portal? How much do you have to balance sacrificing talent versus saying, look, this guy is that dude, and if I've got every penny, I don't give a damn what I have to do.
That's a conversation. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and they're like, well, this team is dealing with this, and this team is dealing with that. I'm not going to go into which team we were talking about because everybody has these NIL problems. But, like, when they're on the floor, you better coach them. I don't care what guys are getting paid, if that makes sense. Like, you'd want the best talent, obviously, but if your priorities are in a certain order, like you have to think like what fit is best for me. And people to forget, guys, like NIL's great in theory until your ass isn't playing well, and then you're just not making as much NIL money. I think that's the biggest key that people are forgetting. Like put first things first. Like, you better play well, then the money will come. Don't look for the money and then like, well, I guess I'll show up. Like, that's not how this works. Okay, you're getting a crash course in capitalism.
How do you decipher? How do you know? Not every wolf wolf in sheep's clothing isn't going to just say I'm about myself.
Yep.
Sometimes that's why a lot of teams look their best in the preseason. They haven't really faced anybody yet. They haven't really seen adversity. And when the shot's not falling, when coach isn't playing you, if the coach builds that relationship on, I just don't want to step on toes. To your point, here, you got to coach a guy.
No, you got to coach him. To hell with what they're making. I don't care if there's like, for example, like some kids are focused on just that. They're trying to get paid right now because a lot, like, guys, let's be honest, there's a lot of really good college players that are not going to be NBA players. And like, those guys that are able to grab 250 grand or 300 grand, that's much more than they're going to make in Europe their first 4 years playing.
For sure.
Like, people don't realize that. Like, you go to Europe, if you get a good deal in year one out of college, you're getting 50 grand. Like, people think like, oh, I'm going to go to Europe, make $1 million, get paid over here more than the rookie. No, you're not. Like, so I understand. There's a portion of me that understands like, hey, if you can go get your money, do that. But you have to understand one thing before another. What's up?
I am so sorry. But somebody tweeted, I have to credit the tweeter.
Yeah.
At KJ_Paul tweeted, DeAndre Williams of Memphis, parentheses, kicked off his parents' insurance, will not be returning to tonight's game. Oh, my goodness gracious.
That's a good one.
If you were 26 in college, Patrick, if you were 26 years of age in college, what would you have been doing?
Hopefully,
be careful before you answer that, Patrick.
3 degrees at that point, maybe, right?
Smart answer, right, T.O.?
Smart answer.
Smart answer.
26.
He's 26 years old.
Like, what could you be enjoying in college at 26? Like,
I got some ideas.
No, well, I'm sure you do, Fanta. You better calm it down over there. We got another 35 minutes of the show, sir.
We never worked together on this show, and we probably won't this season ever again. But don't. That's the dumbest question. Why would you ask that question? What a dumb question by you. If you're 26 in college, what would you really be enjoying?
Yeah. Cold beer. Doing at 26.
Cold beer. PG rated answer. By the way, we are going to have someone from Alabama here on with us. And let's see. We're going to have Brandon Miller. How about that for a guess?
That'd be a good one.
How about that for a guess? I'm going to make sure of this, but it looks like we're going to have Brandon Miller coming up here as long as we'll stay on. As long we're going to get Brandon Miller, I think, tonight, which would be great. I don't think he's been on After Dark this year. I'm almost positive he hasn't been. And we talked a little bit about him here. Well, Alabama on their way to a win here over Memphis. So for the Crimson Tide guys, I mean, what a start to the season. What a job. I'll tell you what, I think Nate Oates has to be under consideration for National Coach of the Year at this point. What's he built there? What's he been able to build for Alabama at a school where football is always going to be king, Pat?
Well, outside of excitement and championship, Coach Oates has made this place. And I love what he does in his recruiting style, recruiting close to home and finding those top kids. It's his style of play. It's his system that is so enticing. It would be for me as well, especially for guards. Haven't really seen too many big guys that just explode. I think Charles Bediako, I'm looking for him to make a big jump, but
hey, I think he's been pretty good this year.
He's been pretty. I'm like jump like oh man, like he's an NBA guy type thing. I don't know if I've seen that with him yet, but for their offense, well, all he really needs to do finish, protect the rim. That's really it. That's great for overseas, but their style of play, the 3-and-D, getting it up and down. I mean, as you said, outside of Javon Quimbley, the ball stops within his hand a little bit, but he finds a way to make some great passes and get things done. But I absolutely respect the heck out of Coach Oates. Last year was an outlier of a year. He had the guys. it just seemed like everyone wasn't bought in.
Mhm.
Especially they had the wins. They beat Houston, they beat Gonzaga, and then they lose to who they lose into the tournament.
I can't remember, but they didn't guard last year.
They didn't guard.
That's the single biggest difference this year and last year. Like this year, because they play fast, being able to play off a defensive board, being able to play off a turnover where the defense isn't set, like it's a lot different with that style when guys are retreating and trying to point and talk and get their guys. Whenever the other team scores and you're not playing any defense, like last year, they're trying to play fast against a set defense, and you can scout against that. And that's what makes it the biggest difference. But to go along with what Patrick said, what do they build down at Alabama, Fanta? It's one of those things where you're at a football school. Everybody understands it's a football school. It's never not going to be a football school, even when they were in the early 2000s before Saban came. Like it's always going to be a football school. So what can you bring to bring fans into the game? And that's an exciting style. They're playing fast. They're shooting threes. There's a lot of dunks. There's a lot of athletes, a lot going on. And then, he's recruiting at a high level. So whenever you're able to do that, it's it's an enticing environment because of what they're doing, and people enjoy it.
Sure. So we think we're going to have Brandon Miller here in the back half of the show. Thank you to Alabama as the Crimson Tide keep on rolling, folks. And with just seconds left on their way to a win over Memphis, let's turn the discussion to a game tonight that was interesting, a mid-major game, folks. Iona and Princeton. This is a game that Iona won, and they came back and won this game. Rick Pitino's team has won 5 in a row. They beat Princeton 70-64. They get 20-point performances tonight by a pair of guys in Walter Clayton Jr. and Danish Jenkins. But let's talk about Pitino, because Iona is rolling. The NCAA stuff and the IARP, which is going defunct and frankly has been a failure, that's all in the rearview mirror. Rick Pitino will be coaching blank next year.
Theo, you take that one.
You know what? I think there's one other job that I think could intrigue him, and I think it's South Florida. Obviously, other things could intrigue him. There's situations going on elsewhere that could intrigue him. But South Florida in Tampa, it's warm. Pitino's getting a little long in the tooth. Like we're not fooling anybody here. Like people his age like warmer weather. But that being said, like being at Iona, that's kind of home for him, right? Like Wingfoot's there. Like he enjoys his life where he's at. So that's a big portion of it. So I think he stays. I think South Florida's a bit of a, what are they, an American? Like, and they haven't been good in forever. Like, we'll see.
Oh, I don't think so, man. You think he's going to stay at Iona?
Yeah, I think he stays.
No, let me be very clear.
Okay, let's stir the pot, Fanta. Let's stir the pot. Where do you think he's going to go?
Okay, before I say where he's going to, I think USF is the front runner.
Yeah.
The irony is Steve Masiello can't go with him because that was a huge issue with Mass trying to get hired, and there's all that drama. Could you see Steve Masiello taking over at Iona? What a plot twist that would be. Having said this, guys, forget about USF for a second. If you're a power conference program that is contemplating change, and if you're a power conference program that cares about winning, then you don't think for a second, because a lot of the things that he was doing are legal now. There are other things.
Hold on now.
Easy.
All bets are off. All bets are off. The resident assistant didn't even know what was going on. Hire Pitino. I'm telling you right now, if you're trying to win games, are you trying to win? Are you trying to win?
Always.
Well, then there's no better guy to do it than him.
How much longer can he coach in his fashion, though? Like, he's 70 years old.
He's 70?
He's 70 years old.
Another 5 years. You want to get your program going with momentum. You want someone to turn the job into a better job. Do you know do you know that certain coaches don't answer the phone when he calls them for a game? Do you also realize that certain coaches are downright scared to play him? Rick Pitino versus Richard on Sunday in Albuquerque. It's unbeaten New Mexico. Do you realize I don't know Richard very well? Do you
Great
think Richard's going to sleep the night before the game? He'll be shaking in his freaking boots. And it's not an insult against him. I wouldn't want to touch Rick Pitino with a 50-foot long pole if I were on the other side of a matchup. And let me tell you something. Iona's going to win the MAC. And if you're the 3 seed or the 4 seed or the whatever seed, and you got to face Iona in the first round, you will be scared the morning of the game. So I'm sorry. I understand that there's ethics and morals. It's 2022 in college sports. All those have been thrown out the window. You'd be foolish to not look at Ricky P.
There's no argument for me. If you want to win for the next 5 years, it's going to take you a year. Year 2, he's going to get you to the tournament. There's no argument there for me. Like Rick Pitino can coach. It's just a matter of who's going to bite the bullet and make that happen. But Iona is not a bad spot for him.
Iona's not a bad spot. Pressure's light. Life's good.
Life's good.
But you don't wait. But you guys know being a competitor. Patrick, you think Pitino doesn't want one last shot at like a higher profile gig to have his grand exit in college hoops?
I
feel he's pretty comfortable, man. Like Iona's not a bad spot for him. Like I don't know.
No, I can foresee it. One last shot at because I know he doesn't like being in a one bid league. That's not
exactly.
That's the least appealing part about it.
Right.
Exactly.
Now, South Florida. Now, I will say this: like that South Florida gig, a lot of people look at it as a sleeping giant because the enrollment's good. They play in a nice facility. Tampa's a great city. It's warm. Like there's a lot of positives about that job. It's just nobody's really been able to get it going. Like if you need somebody that could get it going, I think Pitino certainly could. And then you also have there's a ton of talent in Florida like that would fit his style of play.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Pat, you know this, like high school basketball in Florida looks a lot different than high school basketball in some other states.
Okay, let me tell you something. Let me tell you my story about South Florida that then reflects why South Florida should hire Rick Pitino. So I covered a game at South Florida I was
about to say spring break 2017.
As a student at Seton Hall.
Okay.
Seton Hall is going to play at USF. Why? Nobody knows. It's not a conference game. So take the plane down for Seton Hall Student Radio, WSOU, with my partner, who was on the cross-country team, by the way. So we had very different lifestyles and diets. So we take the plane down to Tampa Bay. All right. We settle into a La Quinta across the way from USF's campus. Okay. Put our bags down. I am starving. I'm starving. Now, the 27-year-old in me, the current age, Tio's been with me for a meal. Yes, I can eat. However, the 19-year-old could do double that. Like, put it away, Pat Young. Put it away. So I go down to the front desk. All right. I walk up to the front desk and I say to the girl, hey, what's a good restaurant that you're known for around here? And she looks at me and she goes, I got to tell you, honey, the Hooters down the way is outstanding.
Yeah.
Now, Rick Pitino is perfect for that neighborhood. Perfect. If your recommendation is frickin' Hooters, USF, bring in Rick Pitino. South Florida, you are never going to be more relevant than if you have Rick Pitino roaming your sidelines. What's the beauty of USF basketball? The answer to the question is you're never going to be more relevant than Florida, Florida State, UCF, who's going to the Big 12. You're South Florida.
You definitely beat Florida State in your first year, that's for sure.
Absolutely. USF.
That's just Gator hate. It's all that.
That's just Gator hate, but that's also they are 2-8 or whatever.
I think I might know who's getting coal under your Christmas tree. Do the right thing, okay? Do the right thing. Hire Rick Pitino. I know. Do the right thing and hire Rick Pitino sounds like an oxymoron, but if you're trying to win games,
it does.
Yeah, it does. But if you're trying to win games, I'm of the belief that's what you should do.
I want to
All
talk
right?
to Rick Pitino about how his stint coaching Greek basketball was. Because what a thing that was, that he just hopped up. He coached Nick Kalathis and a few other
Oh
former
yeah, he had them
guys.
winning. He had them winning. And he's got Iona winning. They've won 5 in a row. Hey, let's transition here in the back half of the show. Which conference has proven the most thus far? Let's give you a rundown, folks. The Big Ten has 6 teams in the AP Top 25. It was supposed to be a rebuilding year. It's been the furthest thing from that in the Big Ten. The Big 12 has 7 teams in Ken Pom Top 35. But frankly, T.O. and Pat, we expected the Big 12 to be great, right? Yep. The SEC has 4 teams in the Ken Pom Top 15. We expected it to be great, but there's been some unexpected teams in terms of the fact that Alabama has rolled all the way up to number 4 in the country, and Mississippi State hasn't lost a game. So, which conference has proven the most this season, T.O.?
I think the Big 12 just being dominant consistently. Like, if you look at their overall record, there's only one team with 4 losses. It's Oklahoma State, which has competed. Like, that team, that league is ridiculous top to bottom. You know, who's last place in Ken Pom according in the Big 12 conference right now is Kansas State, and they're 9-1. Like, that league is murderers.
Keontae Johnson, baby, let's go.
Yeah, Keontae Johnson, really good one. Naquan Tomlin, also a really good one. Like, they've got pieces, and they're last place in the league, and they're still going to be tough. I think the Big 12, just top to bottom, is so tough, and you know, even with what all is happening at Texas, like they still have enough to win games, even in the league.
For me, you know, because you know, primarily an SEC, ACC guy, I know a bit of the Big 12. I've had a few shows on with the Field of 68, and had to, but I'm glad I did watch a lot of Big 10 games. And I got to tell you, I'm really impressed by that league. They beat each other up, man.
Stop.
They beat each other up. I had no idea. But, you know, a little disappointed in Illinois thus far after coming off a big win against Texas to get knocked out by Penn State. But I guess I'm getting into my nice and naughty list. Been really impressed by Maryland. Seeing what Kevin Willard has done with that program. I mean, seriously, if they would have won that game if they could shoot a little bit better than 2 of 26 from 3-point line to beat Tennessee, and the conversation is different. Wisconsin, look, they're making noise. Ohio State thoroughly impressed me in the Maui Classic, and then obviously number 1 team in the country, Purdue. Michigan State almost had Gonzaga. I mean, this conference is right there. Rutgers, that place is rocking. They're rocking it at home. I got my ass kicked playing the Scarlet Knights back in
at the rack
2013. And that play, it looks good. So my easy.
What happened?
What
happened at the rack? What happened to you?
They touched me. Just kidding.
Well, I'll tell you what. Hey, today there's a lot going on in this show, and there's not a whole lot of basketball games. There aren't a whole lot of basketball games on the slate today, Pat.
What did you
They touched him up. They touched him up. They played real physical. They played real physical.
Yeah, no, it was a game. It was a game. I think that's what.
I love this show.
What is wrong with you? Go ahead.
I want to say it was my sophomore year. I think that was when Mike Rosario was still there at Rutgers, and he just went off on us. The game ended up going in overtime. Yeah, we still had Irvin Walker, Kenny Boyden at that time, and the atmosphere was insane. The fans were awesome. Just one of those games where I don't think they made the tournament that year. But at the rack, it's just they were a completely different team. And my heart was touched. My heart was real sad.
Better phrasing.
Look, that can happen. Here's the thing. Which conference has proved the most this season? The answer is without a doubt the Big Ten. Because the Big Ten walked into the season.
It's the same thing every year, Fanta. And they're doing it again.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal. You walked into this year and everybody and their mother said that this league was going to be down. It hasn't been down. Purdue has a case to be the best team in the country. Nobody had that. Maryland is back. They're back to being a competitive program night in, night out. They got UCLA tomorrow night. I like the Terps in College Park in that game because Dante Scott, Julian Reese, like Hakeem Hart, they had talent. Now Kevin Willard's getting the most out of it.
Yep.
Ohio State, to me, has potential. They're young right now, but I think they're going to keep on getting better. Illinois is a dark horse team that could make a run in the NCAA tournament. Terrence Shannon is that dude. And if the real Matthew Meyer shows up, they're a dangerous team. And I like Jaden Epps. I think Jaden Epps, he's proven the most of any individual because Jeff Goodman said on our show last week that when he saw him in the preseason, he didn't think much of him at all. And Epps he was really good against Texas. The point is, the Big 12 we knew was going to be really good. The SEC, we knew it was going to be really good. The league that had something to prove was the Big 10. And the Big 10 has showed that they're going to get 7, 8, 9 teams in the NCAA tournament. Jalen Pickett and Penn State, they've proved something in the first month and change. And I wasn't sure if they were going to be any good, but they've got experience, poise, and balance. So there's a number of teams. Michigan State has leveled off, but Michigan State beat Kentucky, guys. Michigan State stole the show at the Champions Classic. Indiana's still a top 20 caliber team. We knew what they were going to be. Remember we walked into the year, guys? We walked into the season, and we said Indiana's the clear number one. And everybody said the reason why they're the clear number one is because there's no clue on who's going to be number two. I haven't even mentioned Michigan. And you know that Hunter Dickinson's going to play a role. And Wisconsin, I thought would not be very good. But guys, Tyler Wall, Chucky Hepburn, Stephen Crowell,
Connor Esigian.
Connor Esigian's been one of the best freshmen that you'll find.
He has been. He's been really
I'm
good.
not saying you can both say that you have concerns about the Big Ten's track record in March and also say that the Big Ten has proven the most thus far this college basketball season. Now, which conference has disappointed the most? Which conference has let you down the most?
ACC. It's me. And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it because I feel like I'm just fighting a losing battle because I've been back in the ACC and back in the ACC and back in the ACC. I got no more fight left to give, boys. You got to give me something back. Like there's got to be a two-way relationship. If I'm over here trying to preach about the conference, you guys got to do more. Louisville, 0-9, and God knows what they're doing. NC State right now, kind of still figuring it out. 9-3, pretty good win today. Boston College, we all thought was going to be improved. They're 6-6. Georgia Tech 6-4. I'm pretty sure 2 of their wins are against Division IIs. Like Florida State 3-9. Think about that. Florida State is 3-9. And the problem that's going to happen, guys, is it's not KenPom related NCAA tournament selections. It's the net. And so what happens, Florida State has a terrible non-con. They're 3-9 right now. They're going to get healthy in February and be a tough out for anybody in the league. And they're going to beat some teams in the middle of that conference. So they're completely screwing over the ACC because they're going to be good later. But they stink now. So it's going to be really hard to it's going to be really hard for the conference to kind of dig out of this same hole. Like 3-bid ACC, Patrick, I saw where you said that. And I didn't like it very much. I think it's a 5-bid ACC, and I think there's a legitimate case for maybe 6 teams out of 15. But like the problem that you're going to run into,
it's a 15-team league.
Yeah, so 5 or 6.
Well,
you should get a third.
Huh?
You should get a third of your league in if you got 15.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You should. So 5, maybe 6. But like you got to keep in mind too, there's been teams that have taken care of business. Like Miami's taking care of business. Virginia's taking care of business. Duke, Virginia Tech, they've taken care of business. Like, and then there's going to be other teams. Wake Forest, I think, has a shot to make the
Appleby, baby.
And North Carolina's going to get a chance. Like they're going to get the benefit of the doubt if they're even close. So like, and they're looking more and more like a bubble team. So like, there's going to be 5 or 6 teams, but it's like that bottom of the ACC is just going to pull everybody down, and it screws you. It really
if you
does.
lose to Florida State, your season's dead.
It's not dead. I'm not going to say it's dead if you lose to Florida State, but you can't have multiple bad losses. And like, that's one of those bad losses that
Not for the
it's going to be
top
really
team,
hard
T.O.,
to
but
avoid.
not for the top team, T.O., but for the middle team. For
That's
some
what
of
I'm
the
saying.
team, if you lost to Florida State or Louisville, your season's greatly killed. I mean, I'm sorry, but you're going to get – it's like in the video game when you're shot and you're down and you need a revival. Like, that's what you would need. You know, like – because Florida State's net is in the 280s.
Dang.
And they're going to get healthy. That's the part that stinks.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
the problem is Florida State's going to play spoiler in this league.
That's right. And then you also have, like, you look at the Big Ten, like, they're good in the non-con because same reasons as every year, guys. Same reasons as every year. They're old, and except for Purdue, but they have Zach Edey, who's the most dominant human being since Shaquille O'Neal in college basketball. So, like, he has
Who are you
been that
say?
dominant.
I mean, Anthony Davis.
Stop it. Next question. So, like, dude, Cal wouldn't even let him throw it into Anthony Davis. Do you not remember that?
Yeah, but it wasn't late.
I'm
talking second half of the season, Anthony Davis.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
we're
in the first half of the season.
Anthony Davis was unbelievable.
Well, we're in the first half of the season.
So much better.
Well, you're right. But, like, all these Big Ten teams, like, we know what they are right now. They're going to win. And what happens is now they have a bunch of quad one opportunities.
See, I disagree. I disagree with that because I don't even think Brad Underwood knows what his Illinois team is right now.
Okay, so I'll give you Illinois. I'll give you Ohio State. Those are the teams that could really improve. Outside of that, who?
But then you're suggesting to me then that Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, like, that we won't find new things out about them.
No.
Okay.
That's an easy answer. Well, Painter's getting so much out of them right now. And they're good players. They're very, very good players. Are they going to carry you through the tournament?
We're going to get more out of him. He's a freshman. You're not feeling that at all, T.O.?
He won't do it. He won't budge.
They are what they are. Like, it's fine. Like, they're playing out of their head right now.
Yeah,
that's great.
His Christmas budget is his Christmas budget.
Oh, man. I'm disappointed in T.O.
Huh? I know. He's not caving. He won't cave on this. All right. Nope. Here's the next question, because we are bringing you a bunch of questions tonight.
Okay.
And now we're at 11:49. Blue blood check-in. We think we're going to have Brandon Miller. I haven't seen anything from Steven here from Alabama, but folks, stay with us. Brandon Miller off of Alabama's win over Memphis, the superstar freshman, maybe the best freshman in the country. We're going to get him tonight. We're getting him. Blue blood check-in. Choose one of these teams to invest in. I want to see the YouTube chat on this. You could choose one. I give you the option of Kansas, Duke, or Kentucky that you can invest in. The team that you believe has the highest ceiling the rest of the season. Which school, which program are you picking, Patric Young?
I had to go back and look at the numbers and see how they're doing it within their own leagues right now. I didn't want to sound biased, but I am pretty high on investing in Kentucky basketball. And reason being is that 39% from the three-point line on the season so far. I think it's a team that just Cal always has a team that has length. I think they have, for the most part, with having Oscar Tshiebwe and a few other guys that returned from last year, Jacob Toppin, Damian Collins, Xavier Wheeler, from that loss last year at St. Peter's. They have so much to prove. My second choice was going to be Duke because I don't think Dariq Whitehead has found his groove yet, and he is sensational. He's a dude, T.O., as you would say. Also, they're rebounding the ball extremely well. Right now, have the second best three-point defense. Not super high on Kansas right now. And I really like DeJuan Harris. But Kentucky for me right now is it. And what I love too about Kentucky, 18 and a half assists per game right now. So really getting the ball moving. I thought they were going to be a team that settled for a lot of two-pointers, bad shots. Their defense has room to improve. Oscar hasn't become that Oscar from last year just yet, and he's averaging 16 and 13. I'm ready for those 20 and 20 games coming. They're coming. So for me right now, I'm sitting right there. And with Cason Wallace, he's shooting, as I said earlier, he's shooting 51% from three. Something and with 2.5 steals per game. He's a dog. He takes on defense, the defensive accountability. He's going to guard the best player. He's going to help this team win. The only real question mark is for me is Xavier Wheeler. How will he, a non-shooting point guard, help this team stay effective? With all that said,
yep, I'm going to agree. I'm looking in the chat. I'm agreeing with Yuli Burstein and Jared Williams because they picked Duke. And whenever you're evaluating a potential piece of property, a potential investment, what are you looking to do? You're looking to buy cheap. And sometimes you can get young teams for cheap. And that is why I would pick the Duke Blue Devils, because they're just going to continue to improve. And the talent is there. It's got good bones. Now you got to put those guys together and make them play really well together and see them continue to evolve within their roles and within their teammates' system. Like, more they do that, the better they're going to get, the more they're going to improve. And it's a puzzle piece fit Duke team.
How do you feel about Jeremy Roach right now?
Well, he's hurt.
Huh? Oh.
Yeah, he's hurt. So like, or he was hurt last game. Like, here's
good question, Patrick.
I want to hear if he's going to say, hey, Jeremy Roach is just Jeremy Roach. That's all you're going to get. That's it.
No. See, the thing is with Jeremy Roach is he's had to kind of carry the load of trying to create stuff early because all the rest of the guys are trying to figure it out. Once Tariq Whitehead gets comfortable, like, this is a puzzle piece Duke team. This is not a Paolo Banchero is the best player on the floor every game he plays in team. Yeah. Like, this is a puzzle piece, guys. A bunch of role players. Filipowski is the best player on the floor most nights. Most nights he's the best player, but they still need to fit together, and he still needs to attack gaps whenever there's room to do so. So I think they all feel together. So buy low. Where you buy them, that's the most important part if you're investing.
Buy low.
Buy low, baby. Buy low.
I like Danny Grace, who says, keeping my money in my piggy bank and passing on all three. He says so Danny, who you buying then? Who are you gonna buy, Danny? Look,
scared money don't make none.
Oh, do we have Brandon Miller here? Looks like we do here on After Dark. 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Steven, good to see you. Steven Gonzalez from Alabama.
We'll go find Brandon.
Alabama, we know how good they are.
Thank you, Steven. We appreciate it. Alabama, a winner tonight, 91-88. The Crimson Tide are rolling right now, and we are awaiting the superstar freshman Brandon Miller, who tonight had 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists in 33 minutes. He shot 7 for 13 from the floor. He shot 4 of 8 from 3. Terrence Oglesby, you heard about Brandon Miller in the preseason. You talked on the DTF podcast about what you thought of him, what you were hearing about him. From what you heard, and now what you're seeing, what comes to mind with what he's been able to do?
Well, his skill level at his size is the biggest thing, and his ability to put it on the deck, to play off the catch and shoot, really, when guys that do create on that team, he's able to do that as well. He's so versatile in his offensive skill set, and they have unlimited length. They have shot making, and he's one of those big reasons. I thought it showed a lot. Like, he started off slow today, had 3 points in the first half, had 21 in the second, and shot good percentages. I know Pat, like, you're a numbers guy. Like he shot great percentages all the way through. And if you looked at his film from when he played at Cambridge High School in Middle Tennessee,
goodness,
like, he looked ridiculous. He looked like Penny. And ironically enough, Penny was on the other sideline today. So
I saw a little Kobe in there too. I'm not gonna lie to you, a little bit.
I can't compare guys to Kobe. I won't
flashes. I saw some Kobe flashes. Some of those moves, those getting those tough twos. I was like, man, I see who he's been watching this game from.
And I feel like he got overlooked a little bit too in AAU because he played with Brad Beal Elite with Nick Smith, and Nick Smith was ball dominant on that team. And they had Jeremy Fears, who's going to Michigan State next year, and he's ball dominant. So it was like one of these things where he couldn't really show off what he could really do. And then now he has that opportunity, like, you're seeing the results.
Wow. Him and Nick Smith were on the same AAU team.
Yeah. They made it to the finals of the Peach Jam and ended up losing.
How much fun is the SEC going to be?
Every night. Murderer's Row. Like, you look, even Mississippi State, you go down to Starkville.
Yeah.
Man, like, big, tough, rugged, physical. Like, I always look, the SEC every year is the most athletic league. top
It
to
is.
bottom. That's the biggest thing.
And here he is. Here is Brandon Miller joining us with that big smile. 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Alabama a winner, 91-88. Brandon, it's great to have you with us. I think Stephen or you might just have to unmute your mic from the locker room. Terrence Oglesby is with us. Patric Young is with us, and I'm John Fanta. So it's good to see you, man. Now we've got you unmuted. So Brandon.
Our team, so I think it just
Brandon, congrats on the win.
Congratulations on the big win. We'll let you get back and get
Sounds
some
like there might
treatment.
be some other audio on your guys' laptop.
Right?
A
A blood transfusion. Maybe a blood transfusion.
Hold on a second. We'll get you.
Brandon Miller, congratulations on the great game. Alabama holds on and knocks off Memphis in a
Maybe we'll
very
get it
hard-fought
off here
affair.
so it's not
There's a lot
interfering
going
with
on.
us. There we go. All right.
There we go.
Brandon Miller is with us now on Field of 68 after dark. Again, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Alabama wins 91-88 over Memphis. Brandon, John Fanta here, Terrence Oglesby, Patric Young with you. Before we talk basketball, we understand that you have a passion for fixing cars. Tell us about it.
I don't think it's a passion for fixing cars. I think I just know a lot about real like muscle cars. I think that's something I take pride into, like everything like basketball is just muscle cars. So I think that's another kind of a sneaky talent I have.
So like you and Devin Booker, really,
Yeah.
like the old school cars. I like
No,
that.
no, no,
Hey,
no,
you
no,
gotta
no.
love Tennessee.
I'm more of the new school cars. I don't like I like some old school cars, but
What are you driving?
2022 Dodge Charger.
Okay, there you go.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Hey, I got to ask you, Brandon, man, we'll talk about the game a little bit. Tonight was really, really good, and I hate to bring this up, but I admired your performance against Houston, be able to, mentally tough, knock down free throws at the end. It took a second, took the first half, but you exploded. And I think, you to be able to basically break through, it wasn't a slump, but it was just the ability to keep playing within yourself. And it really paid off. Where does that maturity come from? Yeah, I mean, you're still just a freshman, right?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a freshman. I think it's just basketball. You miss shots, you make shots. So I think I just really kept my head and kept playing. My teammates really kept me in the game. They gave me the confidence that I needed. So I feel like I can just step up to the line and make free throws and get defensive stops or get a board that they needed to win the game.
Brandon, what's been like, coming into this season, freshman expectations, all that. What's been the biggest adjustment for you, especially coming on under some amazing coaching under Coach Oates with your skill level? Because I know that you love the ISO game, getting to the bucket, getting those tough twos, and you're playing for a coach that's 3-and-D. What's been the biggest adjustment for you?
Well, the biggest adjustment that I have was our nutritionist. She has me eating every 2 hours, so not really used to eating every 2 hours, but
Really,
it's just something to get used to out there. I mean, we have great food here, so I can eat every 2 hours.
Can I come down?
Of course.
Brandon, you can't go down there, man.
What do they have you eating?
They're practicing
what is
like
in the
40
meal
feeding-
plan?
You can't do
They're
it.
feeding the kids every 2 hours. What are you eating? What do you love? Like what you said the food's great down there. So what are you eating in Tuscaloosa?
Today before the game, I had, of course, breakfast. That's the most important meal of the day. So I had some French toast, some eggs, some bacon, sausage. Then I had some fruit on the side. Pineapples. I think pineapple is probably my favorite fruit now. But pineapples with a protein shake. So I think that's a big breakfast. And then before the game, around maybe 4, I had chicken, some rice, 3 rolls, and some more fruit. So I mean, I think that's the beauty here. Is just
Is it because
what
your
it was like to be
metabolism's so
20?
high? You burn so many
Again?
calories?
Yeah, I think with all the run up and down, I burn a lot of calories, so it just keeps my weight up when I play.
Hey, I gotta ask you this too. You guys played a tough Memphis team, and they're a lot older than you, right? And you guys fended them off. What can you tell us about Memphis and how they played, and how they are moving forward in the year? Because they had a guy on there who's 26 years old, man. It's a bunch of old rugged dudes.
Well, I mean, I went to the game last year in Memphis. I really picked up that, Penny preaches to them that physicality and, Memphis is always going to be a scrappy team. So I just went in the game knowing they was going to be scrappy and, getting beat up every time I catch the ball or off the ball. So kind of just kept my head and just played through it.
Brandon, watching you and Noah Clowney has been really impressive. What's your bond like with him?
Stretch, that's my guy. I try to get dinner with him every night. But he's a young athlete, so he's still napping every hour. So it's kind of hard to get him out of the bed. So I mean, he's definitely gonna shock the world as young as he is, but I think he's better than what the world sees now.
And to follow on that, when you look around the climate of college basketball, when the casual person, not one of us three who are involved in the game, like I find it fascinating that you're at Alabama, because you know this. There's a lot of kids who are going to look at Duke, Kentucky, Kansas in that class, in that realm. What is it about Alabama and Coach Oates that you would say to another kid that's looking for a destination that here's why you should be a member of the Crimson Tide? This is what's happening here.
Well, I mean, I preach to recruits that I think Coach Oates has, one of the best coaching staff around him, and then him as himself, by himself, he brings the best bond with recruiting. So, I mean, he stuck with me the whole recruiting way. He never didn't answer a phone call, or he never went a week without calling me. So I think that's the best thing, is just the bond. I kind of chose my school off the bond that I had with the coach and what I wanted to bring to the team.
Gents, anything else?
No, I got one question, because I'm from Cleveland, Tennessee. So tell me, what makes Tennessee dudes different? Because I know Cambridge, that's a fairly new high school. What makes Tennessee dudes different?
I think it's all in the water. It's different places out here that got different water. I think Tennessee water is different.
Tough dudes.
You got Darius Garland that comes out, Robert Covington. You got a lot of good athletes that come out of Tennessee. So I think it's just the water in Tennessee.
Yeah, toughness. That water's a little salty, so it's like you gotta it doesn't taste all that great going down, but it gets you tough.
Yeah.
It gets you tough.
I got one for you. Jeff Goodman said that when you met Jason Tatum, you didn't know who he was. Is that true?
I was at, I'm young. I didn't really know who he was. Walks past me. Oh, that's JT. I'm like, I don't know who that is. And then later
How old were you then?
15 is when I was playing 15 with Brad Bill. It was the game before we played game we played Monty Bates. And he sat right next to our bench watching the game. And I think I had called my own putback or something. And he got up and they told me, it was like, man, you got Jason Tatum off his seat. Man, you must be pretty good. So I was like, I don't really know who he is. So I went to the crib and did some research. I was like, oh, this guy's in the league. He must be good or something.
Brandon, in this interview, you eat every 2 hours. Noah Clowney sleeps every hour. Could I play for your team?
Of course, man. You gotta build a bond with Oates,
I'll just hang out in the corner, let you two do work.
No, you gotta get involved, man. It's not me and his.
Okay, all right. Well,
how fast you gotta shoot it.
Who's the guy? Last two questions here from us. Number one, who's the guy or guys that Brandon Miller, when you're on YouTube and you're rolling through, like watching other guys play, or just favorite thing to watch, somebody in the NBA all time or present, like who do you just love watching?
Indiana Pacers, Paul George. I kind of compare my game to him a lot. The Pacers, Paul George, because his athleticism before the leg injury. I think that's the biggest comparison I have now.
And the final question is this. I always wonder, what does a player do after you get another big win? It comes over Memphis. Nonetheless, it's a Tuesday night. What are you about to do over the next 60 to 90 minutes?
Well, we got a lift after the game, so I'm about to go in the weight room and get big a little bit,
Do you really?
We gotta lift after.
Like that.
It's kind of like a recovery lift. It's not too hard, but it's gonna be hard enough where you can get, your muscles stronger. And, of course, eat.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to eat more, man. Hey, Brandon, great game, man. You've been a pleasure to watch play all year. I mean, it's been a real treat.
Brandon Miller, thanks for taking the time with us. Congratulations on another win and a great performance. 24-8-5 for the superstar freshman, and we appreciate you stopping by Field of 68 After Dark.
Thank you.
Brandon Miller, there he is. Alabama, a winner, 91-88. And we thank Steven Gonzalez. We always want to thank our SIDs. There are so many great ones, and it's not easy to always arrange these things live, and they did. Guys, there are a lot of interviews that we do on this show. T.O., you've talked with countless players. Pat, you're getting into this now and talking with guys. I would say that in about 10 minutes, I knew Brandon Miller was going to be one of the top picks in the NBA draft. After hearing Brandon Miller talk and watching his behavior, if you're an NBA organization, you should be trying to get this guy tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think
absolutely. He's a total package. He's a
total package.
And I thought it was cool that he said he watches Paul George, because you could see a little Paul George whenever he attacked the basket on that and one. Like that was very Paul George-esque.
Yeah, right when he said it, it's like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What an impressive interview. What an impressive interview. All right, let's cap it here quickly. Tell me who's on your nice list and who's not on your nice list. Who's on your nice list and who's getting coal? I asked you guys this during the day. T.O., what'd you do?
All right, so how many do we have? How many?
3 and 3.
3? All right, so I'm not going to have 3. Dude, so for the first time in his life, Danny Hurley is on the nice list.
Wow.
Danny Hurley is on the nice list. There's no coal in his stocking this year. And the refs have put an emphasis on body language on the sideline. What have you seen from Danny Hurley? Perfect behavior for Danny Hurley in UConn. And he's coaching those boys to a #1 ranking that I think they deserve, guys. So UConn, Danny Hurley, but Danny Hurley, he's on the nice list. So I'll give him that. The other nice list, let's go ahead. I'm going to throw some other ones on there. Virginia, you obviously deserve it. And then Alabama tonight, because they beat a team that really a team full of guys who could, go to Hertz Rent-A-Car and take one off the lot. So like for all those young guys to be able to do that, to play a team that old and that veteran, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So those are my 3 that are on the nice list.
We're in alignment because Danny Hurley and the UConn Huskies made my nice list as well. Kevin Willard over at with his boys at Maryland, they've made my nice list, and the Volunteers, whose pants I still will never accept. I will never accept the Tennessee Volunteer pinstripe pants, but with playing having the #1 defense in the country, you absolutely make the nice list.
So did either of you two make a naughty list?
I did.
All right, go ahead, Pat.
Creighton. The Blue Jays are definitely on my naughty list right now. I don't know what's going on. The loss to Nebraska just had me spiraling. Then Illinois next.
Really?
List as of late. Penn State, man, come on.
Well, it should.
Hey, Penn State's good now.
I'm not
They're
saying
good, but losing by 15 at home. But that's harsh. You're a hard. I mean, okay.
They're just naughty right now. It's not like for the whole year. Christmas is up in 12 days, and then I got Auburn. Auburn's on my naughty list.
Why Auburn? Why Auburn?
Well, I haven't seen much change. They haven't fixed any of their problems from last year.
Hey, that's a good point. That's a good point.
That's my answer.
Yeah. Such a good answer by you.
Yeah.
That's a really good
true.
point.
I mean, they don't look that different. They don't look that different. By the way, I have to say, Danny Grace is the commenter of the night. This is my favorite comment I've seen all season.
Oh, man.
Danny's a Louisville fan. By the way, they're on the naughty list. They would top the naughty list.
They won the naughty list.
Yeah,
Louisville
has won the naughty list. My naughty list is Louisville, Cal, and Tony Patelis. By a wide margin. Danny Grace said, you love that, Patrick.
I do
Danny
love that.
Grace said, fading my own team, Louisville, each game, I'm then taking the winnings and reinvesting into our NIL program for our football team. That is unbelievable. So this guy is basically betting against Louisville basketball every game. He's so mad at them that he's then taking the winnings, and he's He's still being a fan.
Yep.
They got a collective over there?
It's admirable. It's admirable.
He's taking the money and investing it into football.
Yeah, times are tough. Times are tough for the
Do
Cardinals.
they have a collective over there at Louisville? I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Hey, we didn't put Marquette on the nice list, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't get to my nice list yet. My nice list is Chris Jans and Mississippi State.
I like it.
And your guy, Tolu Smith, who's been terrific. Shaka Smart and Marquette absolutely make it. I mean, they have really impressed. And then you got to give Tommy Lloyd in Arizona a nod to the nice list. Arizona's a Final Four candidate, and I'm not sure how many people thought that. They lost 3 of the top 31 NBA draft picks, and they've just reloaded. They have reloaded. Azuolas Tubelis is one of the best players in the country right now, and he and Omar Ballo have formed one of the best duos in the front court in the country, if not the best. So there's my naughty, there's my nice. The comments have been amazing tonight.
All right,
a lot of Brandon Miller love.
List. Hey, are we going to do 3 cheers?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Give us a toast.
No, I didn't know if we were or not, because if we weren't, I was going to.
Normally start with that 3 cheers.
Yeah. I'm going to cheer to North Carolina tonight.
Oh, that's what I was going to do.
I'm cheering to North Carolina. You know why? They had 24 assists today.
Okay.
They had 24 assists today. Now, it was the Citadel. Like, let's not get it twisted. But sometimes, guys, like, they play a loaded non-conference. They're playing in all these invited events and all that stuff. They turn around and then they have to go straight to Virginia Tech. I get all that. But they've been a selfish team for the most part. They're turning it around. And sometimes these bye games can be the best time to get right, because now you've figured out your real issues against some of the best teams in the country. You get a couple of bye games and you can work on your specific weaknesses. And then you can find a way to get it rolling as conference play comes up. So good on them. Cheers to North Carolina.
All right.
Hey, and on my naughty list, hey, Big Ten, the entire conference, you deceitful bunch. You deceitful bunch. Every year, you deceitful bunch, just to come and trick Fanta into believing all this hype.
Patrick, go ahead. 3.
I have to send T.O. a not so friendly message. There you go.
Got it.
So Patrick just okay, Patrick, go. For those who don't know, Patrick just put in the Zoom chat, which is not public knowledge on the show, that he can eat a bag of you-know-what.
Chips.
It wasn't popcorn. Go ahead, Patrick.
Gluten-free. Have some gluten-free chips. Well, I will. I was going to say North Carolina for different reasons. Toast tonight, hitting 100 points and feeding the fans some free biscuits. That's really all I got. That's it.
Is that what they get down there if they hit 100?
They got some biscuits.
The fans get biscuits?
That's, yeah.
Jesus. Well, all you have to do is go in the Alabama cafeteria to find those. I mean,
yeah, no kidding. Every 2 hours, they have biscuits on standby. Biscuits on standby in Tuscaloosa.
Have you ever heard of a team?
You look at Brandon Miller.
You ever lift after a game?
Yeah, later.
That was new to me.
Well, the idea behind it is you make your hard days, like maximize the toughness of that day, and then your rest day, like you literally do nothing on your rest day. So you maximize it.
All right. My 3 cheers goes out to a Division III program tonight. Shout out to you. The Mary Hardin Baylor Crusaders.
Well done.
Took on Texas State tonight. They led the whole game. That's right. Mary Hardin Baylor. The Crusaders led the whole game. A 25-point performance by Josiah Johnson, who's from Big Sandy, Texas. Well, tonight, Josiah, you are Big Sandy, because Mary Hardin Baylor led wire to wire. They hit 9 threes. They missed only 3 free throws in the entire night. They held the Texas State Bobcats to 2 of 17 from 3. By the way, Texas State, you lost to a Division III team. I mean, by God, I hope they're still lifting or taking shots or something. To Mary Hardin Baylor, good on you. Big time win. You get my 3 cheers tonight. And by the way, Big announcement at the Field of 68 before we head out. For the first time ever, the Field of 68 Media Network will broadcast a college basketball game. That's right. We're jumping into live game production, and our debut is Saturday, 4:30 Eastern time at the Greenville Winter Classic down at Bone Secors Arena in Greenville. Furman and Stephen F. Austin, Paladins, Lumberjacks, big time stage. I'll have the call with Terrence Oglesby to my right, with Rob Dalster on the sidelines. We cannot wait to cover Furman, Stephen F. Austin, Saturday afternoon, 4:30 Eastern time. Join us on YouTube. We'll even have the laptop out and we'll have the chat up. We'll engage with you during the game. That's right. You're not getting engagement on college basketball broadcasts. You're going to get it from us at the Field of 68. We'll take your questions. We'll look at what you're saying. It's a great mid-major matchup. T.O., why should people watch Saturday?
Well, both teams, I mean, Stephen F. Austin has made the tournament. They have some big-time guards that we're going to be able to see. And Furman's got two players that are really, really, really good. And Mike Bothwell is averaging over 20 points a game. And Jalen Slauson, who is the league's defensive player of the year and is a legit pro prospect. So there's players on the floor. Bob Ritchie has done a nice job at Furman, and they just continue to get better. They have a legit shot. It's two potential NCAA tournament teams that we're going to be watching come Saturday. So it's good. Make sure you tune in. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very different than typical broadcaster concerned. We're going to be going back and forth. And what better way to watch a solid mid-major matchup than with John Fanta and Rob Dalster?
It'll be fun. Here's what we can guarantee tonight. Brandon Miller was awesome, both against Memphis and on our show. Patric Young made a remark about a school in New Jersey that I can't unsee now. And this trio will never, ever be asked to work a show with each other again on this channel. I mean, if it were up to Trevor, he'd probably have us work every night, but it very much is not. But it has been a pleasure, and we hope that we entertained you over the last hour and 19 minutes. We are back tonight. Yes, tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern time with a new trio. Check out the Field of 68 daily at 8 a.m. Mike Miller will have it in your inbox. Subscribe. Check out the newsletter. It's your best fix for college basketball. Field of 68 daily. Go to fieldof68.shop. Check out the merchandise. And thank you for watching After Dark, which is always sponsored by our friends at Bet Rivers. For Pat Young, T.O., I'm John Fanta. Sleep well, everybody.